Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.
Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IS. Today we are going to have the Hindu analysis of 1st September 2021. Let us see which are the important articles from today's The Hindu newspaper. Yes, these are the important developments. First of all, we will take overview of all these articles, then we will discuss them one by one in detail. So first, mains related developments on page number 6 and 7, editorial and op-ed page. First article, it is talking about BRICS grouping, importance and issues or challenges related to that grouping, because there is going to happen 13th such BRICS summit and India is going to preside over that summit in this month itself, September month. So that's why the context. This is important from GS2 paper, international relations part. Then challenges in governance, a very good article written by Arun Maira related to governance, the problems related to governance in the country. The inputs can be taken from GS2 paper governance as well as essay topic. Okay, so the article is talking about what are the issues involved at present in the governance aspect in India. Okay, so some philosophical aspects are also covered here, so we will discuss that here. Then Conversation-cum-counselling sessions with families of militant recruits in Kashmir were held recently by army officers and police officers. This is important from security or internal security GS3 paper, because last year there was one question that what measures are required to cut the local support to militant groups, as well as we can say such recruitment from the local people to such militant groups here. So this is also a good initiative, conversation-cum-counselling sessions with the family members by the army officers and police officers. So we will understand that from that aspect. Then specifically prelims related developments, China-Myanmar New Passage was recently inaugurated. So we will talk about this from international relations aspect, as well as we will look into what is the track here. A railroad as well as shipping route is being developed between Myanmar and China here. So which areas of Myanmar and China it is covering, all these aspects on the map. Then concerns over Afghanistan's membership in SAARC arise. Yes, surely, because now it is a virtually government-less country and it is controlled by Taliban, but the government is not formed yet, and therefore its membership in SAARC, there is some kind of dilemma over it. So basics about SAARC grouping, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, we will understand about it. Then in a first, 9 Supreme Court judges take oath in one stroke. Some developments related to polity. Okay, so appointments of judges to Supreme Court that happened recently. Then finally on page number 7, some data is given by Hindu data analysis team regarding women representation in Indian judiciary, both Supreme Court, High Court as well as lower judiciary or subordinate judiciary. So this is important, we can take input whenever we talk about women empowerment in GS1 paper as a part of society, GS2 paper social justice, as well as essay paper also. Okay, and finally practice prelims MCQs on today's current affairs. First, on page number 7, there is one article regarding this BRICS summit that is going to happen. 13th BRICS summit in September 2021. India is going to preside over that summit here. Virtual summit is going to happen. So the context is this one, and the article is analyzing all the issues and challenges related to BRICS grouping. But before that, let us have the background about formation of BRICS and its importance. So about formation, we know that BRICS grouping is for 5 such countries, names, initials: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Again I am repeating, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Okay, so this BRICS grouping, this initially it was called BRIC. It was formed in 2006 by the meeting of foreign ministers of these countries with some converged interest or shared interest. And after 2009, leaders of these countries regularly met on yearly basis and it was formalized. In 2010, South Africa joined this grouping and therefore it was called as now BRICS grouping. Okay, now importance, in terms of importance, you can talk about some facts or data here, like for example 40% or around 42% of total population of the world. Then we can say 30% of total land. Then you can talk about 24% of GDP of the world, and you can talk about 16% of international trade is contributed by these 5 countries. So from that you can understand the significance. And over the period of time, like for example Fortaleza Declaration, of 2014, already UPSC asked basic question about this Fortaleza Declaration. Under this, New Development Bank or BRICS Bank, it was established. Contingency reserve arrangement, especially for protecting the currencies and financial systems of these member countries. Such contingency reserve arrangement was formed by these member countries. In this manner, the cooperation and development is happening. Now, after understanding importance, as India is presiding over this year's summit, India has identified 4 such priority areas for this summit. Which are these 4 priority areas? We will analyze that. To pursue reform of multilateral institutions, especially United Nations Security Council and overall United Nations. Then you can talk about WTO and recently even WHO. So reforms in these multilateral institutions, this is being advocated. Second, to combat terrorism. So this is also important, and recent times in this particular summit we are expecting that the countries will have this BRICS counter terrorism action plan. This is finalized, and we hope that in this summit we agree with this BRICS counter terrorism action plan, right? So this is second. Promoting technological and digital solutions for the sustainable development goals. Yes, surely this is important because all these countries are promoting technological developments, especially while dealing with pandemic. At the same time, we know that how India is exploring use of digital technology in governance aspect, right? So in this manner, they are promoting use of digital solutions, technological solutions for SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. However, we can talk about expanding people-to-people cooperation. So during pandemic times, as we know that the flights, inter-country flights are banned for travel. So this is going to have some kind of setbacks at present unless and until the world, let's say, recover from this pandemic situation, right? So in this manner, you should remember the 4 priority areas where India is going to have discussion in this BRICS summit. Now, what are the challenges that we need to overcome here? So first and foremost is rising economic power of China. It is to some extent creating imbalance in BRICS grouping. So in these 5 groupings, China's economic power is increasing as compared to other countries, and therefore this is creating imbalance in the grouping. Second is that the aggressive nature or behavior of China, especially towards India, it was visible from last year's standoff between armies of 2 countries along the LAC in northern India. Okay, so this is also cause of concern. It is affecting the bonhomie among the countries in the BRICS grouping. Then you can say that the kind of, let's say, the objective that BRICS grouping had to bridge the north south, okay. So north world connecting with it south world, that is developed countries with developing countries, prosperous countries with less prosperous countries. So that objective is not yet, let's say, completely achieved. The southern countries, or we can say that less developed countries, developing and underdeveloped countries, so they have not received benefits from the prosperous countries. So this is the challenges. This is you should be aware about regarding BRICS grouping. Okay, so what will happen in this particular summit, the outcome of summit, further we will discuss that after that, and we'll have follow up on this particular issue. Now moving on, next step in democratic evolution is overdue. On page number 6, this article written by Arun Maira, he writes very good article, especially he is actually the former planning commission member. He writes articles on social justice and governance aspect. Right. Now building institutions for citizens inclusion in governance. In first part he has given very good analogy, philosophical aspect between human body and democratic nation in terms of structure and processes. Here what he is talking about is that any nation, any democratic nation is like human body. Its working is like human body. For example, if you are talking about the structure and processes of human body. So for example, the structure is like the human skeleton is there, bone skeleton. And the processes like breathing process is there, the circulation, blood circulation is there, and different processes are going on in human body. Suppose the processes are becoming weak, so overall body becomes weak despite of strong skeleton. This is how it is, the analogy is related to the nation also. Democratic nation has structure as well as processes. Structure in terms of, you can say, structure in a democratic nation, it is constitution, law, institutions like parliament, judiciary, executive, all these are institutions, CAG. So basically this provides structure to a democratic nation. And processes, okay, so processes involves dynamism, dynamic processes like elections going on, consultation with common public, referendums going on, citizen participation through various tools like RTI is there, social audit is there, e-governance is there. So this is dynamic aspect, this is called as process. It involves dialogue, it involves deliberation, discussion with the people by the executives or decision makers so as to arrive at the common decision or let's say mutually accepted decisions in a democracy. Now what is happening to India's structure and processes at present? There is widening fissures in India's institutions, that is structures. Okay, so there is conflict between legislature and executive that we are witnessing in legislature. Okay, so there is continuous protest in the legislature going on. Opposition parties or opposition leaders, they are not accepting the views of the executive. Executive is not, let's say, having proper dialogue discussions on the different bills on the floors of the houses. At the same time, the conflict between executive and judiciary is also going on about the appointments of the judiciary to the higher judiciary. Okay, so all these aspects when they are going on, there is widening fissures in these institutions. Not only these main institutions, but in other institutions also. Now, media is divided among the party lines. The important role of media earlier, which is, let's say, the basic role we can say, to hold the executive accountable or different arms of the government accountable. This is very important role of media. It is called as fourth pillar of democracy. It is called as fourth pillar of democracy. But in recent times, to some extent, media is also having some problems and it is now working along the party lines. There is little room for thoughtful, non-partisan deliberations among the citizens. To some extent, this is also true on the ground level, that people, whenever the people are voicing their opinion about anything, they will be claimed as whether you are belonging to ruling dispensation or you belong to opposition. They are not having any kind of, let's say, tolerance towards thoughtful, non-partisan deliberation or discussion. It is visible to some extent on the ground also. These are the problems with the processes. These are the problems related to processes. Okay, at the same time, consent of the governed is about more than periodic elections or referenda. That means in a democracy or in a vibrant democracy, what is important is not only the 5-year, let's say, consent given by the people to those representatives through the elections, general elections. Rather, there is some kind of continuous process in between also in that 5 years, during that 5 years, where the people are continuously involved in the governance process. Where the people are continuously involved in the governance process. So, it is not 5-yearly consent of the people in a democracy, rather the continuous dynamic process of interaction between the people, those governed and governing. In this manner, you should understand. And finally, as a conclusion, we can say that time has come to learn to listen well and not just speak well, and to conduct a dialogues and not debates. When we have a dialogue, we speak as well as we listen, and we know that since childhood itself in our educational institutions, we are not to listen, not taught to listen, rather we are taught to speak, okay, to win the debates. So how debates goes on, whenever someone, let's say, start to speak anywhere in a group discussion also, we are not listening there. Okay, so a good dialogue is basically when the people are listening carefully what others are saying and accommodating their views also. Okay, so in this manner we should discuss from the governance aspect what are the problems. You can take input for the essay paper also. Philosophical manner, this correlation between human body and democratic nation, this can be used by all of you here. Okay. Now, the kin of militants offered an olive branch. Now, this is important from security or internal security perspective, how the armed forces and the police forces, they are showing some civilian aspect, soft aspect towards people, and to reduce the support, local support to militants through the recruitment of the youth from that region. For example, top army and police officers held conversation-cum-counselling sessions with nearly 80 families of militant recruits in South Kashmir in a bid to initiate their safe return to mainstream. In this manner, the security forces also, let's say, had asked and insisted and offered all assistance if youths intend to lay down their arms. It is to instill confidence, convey the intent of security forces among the families of active terrorists. So, this is how we call it as offering an olive branch. This is idiom. Its meaning is like, let's say, providing a solution, providing a peaceful solution to the conflict. So, you can use this in your essay paper also, this idiom, like offering an olive branch, okay, peaceful solution to the conflict, right. So, this is important from GS3 paper, security part or internal security. Now, China opens first road rail transport link to Indian Ocean. Now, this is also important from China aspect. What is this rail road shipping transport? Name of this is China-Myanmar New Passage. You can see here Yangon port in Myanmar. From this there is road transport connectivity to Linkang in China along the border, and from Linkang there is rail transport to Chengdu region, industrially developed region Chengdu in China. So, this is a very important trade corridor being developed. How? goods from Singapore reaching to Yangon port. Recently, this is actually we can say the first shipment that happened of the goods from Singapore to Yangon port, and then you can see by road to Linkang on the Chinese side of the Myanmar-China border in Yunnan province, in this region. And from that region, Linkang, new railway line that runs from border town of Linkang to Chengdu, a key trade hub in western China, completes the corridor. In this manner, you should remember here. Okay, so you should also understand that China is to some extent having such kind of corridors on the western side also here through CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. From the Xinjiang province of China, it is connecting directly to the Pakistan and then entering into through the Gwadar port through the Arabian Sea. Fine. So this aspect you can use in your mains examination also. Concerns over Afghanistan's membership in SAARC arise. So as we know that there is no government formed in the Afghanistan, and there will be SAARC summit, and this year it is going to be presided by Pakistan. Okay, so the concerns related to the government-less Afghanistan, how its representation will be there in this South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, SAARC grouping. Okay, so we will talk about this SAARC grouping. Basics about this is very important for prelims. Okay. South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, its charter was finalized in 1985 in Dhaka, where it formally came into being. Its headquarters is in Kathmandu, Nepal. Kathmandu, Nepal. Basically, the objective is to for the welfare of the people of South Asia, to improve the quality of life, accelerate economic growth, territorial integrity, mutual trust and benefit. That means it is political and economic regional cooperation grouping, we can say, and not military grouping, political and economic. There are total 8 members: Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. South Asian countries, we can say. Okay, so 8 members. Earlier there were 7 members. Afghanistan became the member in 2007. Okay, now highest decision making authority, summit level meetings of the heads of the state or governments of the member states. There was a SAFTA, South Asian Free Trade Agreement, signed in 2006 among these countries. Some additional information you should be aware that some countries are common to SAARC as well as BIMSTEC, Bay of Bengal Initiative for Technical and Economic Cooperation. Now, which are these 5 countries? India, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Nepal are common to both BIMSTEC as well as SAARC. Fine. So this much information is sufficient about SAARC grouping. In a first, 9 Supreme Court judges take oath in one stroke. This has happened for the first time, and there is only one vacancy now remains in the Supreme Court. So it is working in almost full strength. Also, 3 women judges have been appointed, and one of them, Justice B.V. Nagaratna from Karnataka, is slated to be Chief Justice of India in 2027. First women CJI. Okay, so yes, with the new appointments, the number of women judges in the Supreme Court has gone up to 4 from the existing 1. At present, there was only 1 women Supreme Court judge, Indira Banerjee was there. Now it has become 4, and this is also largest such in the total strength among the Supreme Court judges. It has also, for the first time, the court allowed the live telecast of the oath taking ceremony. This is the trivial information for prelims examination. Now this data can be used by you in your mains examination or essay paper. Women representation in judiciary. Okay, so in Supreme Court you can see how let's say women have been appointed. So in 1989, for the first time, Fatima Bibi was the first woman appointed in Supreme Court, and at present the latest 3 appointments have been done. So very rare representation in Supreme Court and comparatively more representation in high courts. At present you can see here 33% in Sikkim is there, and then Madras 22.4%, Delhi 20%. So these states are having higher representation, while Uttarakhand, Tripura, Patna, Meghalaya, Manipur, there is no representation to the women at present. Now representation in district courts, subordinate, you can see that the percentage of women judges in lower courts, you can see here 80% greener, 10% is, you can see maroon color is there. So less representation is this one, more representation moving towards greener like Sikkim, Meghalaya, around 80% representation women judges in lower judiciary. Okay, so in this manner you should understand the factual data. You can use that in your essay paper or GS1 paper. Now what should be answer to this question? Okay, so we are talking about the SAARC grouping here. We have to find the correct statements. First, SAARC was established in 1985. Yes, this is correct, through charter that was adopted in Dhaka summit. So 1985 is correct. Then headquarter is located in Dhaka, Bangladesh. This is incorrect. Headquarter is located in Kathmandu, Nepal. Okay, this is incorrect. Then Afghanistan is not the member of SAARC. This is also incorrect. Afghanistan is member of the SAARC, right? Total 8 members are there. So 2 and 3 is incorrect. Only 1 is correct segment. That's why the answer should be 1 only. Fine? Okay. So yes, these were important developments from today's The Hindu newspaper. Thank you.
Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.